Miss Minutes is dangerous as for one apparent reason. She is horny as She been horny for eons. Literally. How are you that cyber horny? Ultron wasn't even horny, and he was out here twiddling with Wanda Maximoff's mind. But
welcome back to the Breakroom. Last week in Loki episode 3, we finally met Victor Timely, a Kang variant from a branch timeline. Loki successfully convinced Sylvie not to kill him. We think. I don't know. They're about to go to the TVA. Will he save the TVA? That's what we're here to ask. We're going to be doing a little bit of a show that you're all familiar with.
there's a script he's supposed to be reading.
Just so y'all know.
A show. There's a whole script.
Like, Victor Timely has a time loop. We have... Fuck.
You're just proving it's live. You're just proving it's live.
This is so live.
What a kindness.
This is so live.
Couldn't be more live.
Brian, don't you edit this part out.
Perfect.
We gave her a body. We should have had a fucking mannequin.
Oh,
God damn it.
Time out.
End the stream.
We gave her...
I hate when we have our best ideas when we're already doing the show.
It's more proof it's live.
Here's how this is going to work. Today, each person will indicate how close we are to Doomsday. And by Doomsday, we mean like an incursion, the loom exploding and killing everyone, my parents finally getting that divorce that they've been threatening, those kinds of things. And to signify how close we are, the clock is going to go closer or farther from midnight. Let's get a Doomsday clock. We've all seen Watchmen. Hey, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Jay's trying to get out.
Jay's like, how do
I
I get
gotta
off this
get the
desk?
fuck out of here.
I'm gonna be away.
All right.
Can I get a single camera on me? Who knows what John might say? Oh.
And you know I'm too damn dark to be in the black. This is how you know it's live. They put my black ass in the dark so y'all can barely see me. Now they got to try to angle the cameras and everything so you see. Our monitor ain't even on over here, so we don't even know what's going on, Evan. You got to turn our monitor back and we'll see.
I like this Laugh Factory lighting.
Man, I feel like, all right, everybody, y'all ready for some jokes and some laughs?
Jay's
Go.
been to a tight 10.
Look.
Evan, give him the light. He's talking about race again.
The red light's already on. You just didn't see it yet.
So we started seeing, and I thought last episode we were closer. But now seeing Miss Minutes, again, spoiler alert, knowing she wants him to be who he is. She wants him to be he who remains. Also, Miss Minutes is dangerous as shit for one apparent reason. She is horny as fuck. She been horny for eons. Literally. She been like, I just want to be your girl. She is horny. How are you that cyber horny? Ultron wasn't even horny, and he was out here twiddling with Wanda Maximoff's mind. But because of that, and she is now a woman scorned, I think our clock goes from wherever I had it last time to about, I think we're probably at 11:57.
You got tape on there now.
Okay, there you go. I felt it. I moved it. Boom, right there. I think we're at 11:57.
So is this further toward Doomsday then?
Yeah, towards Doomsday.
Okay.
I think we're closer towards Doomsday. I think we do have a gigantic Nexus event outside of a timeline with the Loom. Because remember, in order, he's going to scan He Who Remains, Victor Timely, whoever it is. But I think we're going to be too far gone to keep it from being saved. I rest my case.
Let's talk about it. Here's my big question, Jay.
Yes.
You think we're closer to Doomsday specifically because Miss Minutes wants that D?
Yes.
Hasn't gotten it for a long time. You think that she's going to be kind of
because
the
she's
catalyst?
The Loom can be fixed through two people: his aura scan and Ouroboros doing what he got to do, or Miss Minutes herself.
You're right.
Because he will keep rejecting her. She don't care about nothing anymore. She'll let it all go to hell. I believe Miss Minutes will let it go.
Now, if that explodes, does she die? How does that work?
I think
She
she's
can-
rooted
Where
in
is
the
her
TVA.
programming?
I think TVA,
But she's self-sustaining. If she was rooted in the TVA, they'd have pulled her back. Think about it. If she was rooted in the TVA when they couldn't find her for a while, they would have been able to find her. I think she's so self-sustaining and so her artificial intelligence moves so much and is so advanced, she can live outside of it. She can go through time. We see this on her own. It helps to have a temp pad, but it only is to get other people there.
Here's my other thing, right? If Ms. Minutes has been absent for a while. She's been clocked out.
Call in if you think Miss Minutes is horny, ladies and gentlemen.
She is horny. If she's ignoring the problems at the TVA, she must figure they're solvable,
Right.
not that bad,
Or she
or
doesn't
they're
care.
just not going to affect her.
Right. I think she's beyond she doesn't think the world.
If the
affects her.
TVA
She doesn't
explodes,
affect her.
if the
That's what it
timeline
is.
doesn't exist anymore, she's like, I'm
That
good. I
implies she's
exist
not
outside of
anything.
time.
Where's the Citadel at the end of time?
Separate the TVA.
It's separate the TVA.
Friday we joked it was next door.
But aren't they? Yeah, aren't they
Might
kind
be.
of right next to each other?
Could be. Go walk outside.
The timeline.
It's all flat.
I don't know.
I just think we're looking at a point where Miss Minutes plays a major factor, bigger than what she's actually the bad guy in this. I think we were so busy looking at when we saw Victor Timely, when we were first introduced to him in a post-credit scene. We were so quick to think, oh, this dude is going to somehow go bad and be the bad guy be the villain for the show. This is only 6 episodes. Miss Minutes is the villain to make all this happen.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? There's that moment in this episode where right after they send Ravonna off in the lifeboat, Miss Minutes kind of says it's what we had to do or whatever. Sort of implying that she's pulling his strings. But I also get from that Victor Timely's not a good guy. He's conning people left and right. But he's willing to do this kind of thing. So I'm not saying that Miss Minutes is not the villain of the show. She's certainly villainous in this episode.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can let him off the hook.
I don't say you let him off the hook. I mean, yes, he has the propensity to becoming this evil entity. Absolutely. But he has to be guided to that path to becoming this evil entity.
Yeah.
Without the guidance and
I'm
without
with you
being
on that.
driven, he doesn't do
Now,
it.
do you think every other page of that TVA handbook was some mean shit about all of the employees from the TVA? And he's like, I actually fucking hate Casey. That guy sounds like a wet blanket.
Mobius. Oh my God. Mobius snores at his desk and shit like that.
So I don't think that this Victor Timely is our big bad. I think that we get another Kang at some point in the series, and I think that's
Now, we
gonna
saw a crusty ass He Who Remains.
be... Right.
We saw that was
great.
decomposed.
Are we going to get another
I think we
He
get
Who
another-
Remains, or
I-
are we just going to
no,
get a
I-
different Kang?
I think we get a different Kang. I think we get someone on the timeline between Victor Timely, because he has not yet been victorious over time, Victor Timely, and someone who...
Hey, just fuck you, Marvel.
I'm just saying it's right there. Is he a victor of time? Not yet, Victor Timely. But I think that He Who Remains is on the other end of the spectrum. He's the beginning of the spectrum because he's the one that causes the TVA to get started. I think we meet someone that is in the TVA era of time because we see two TVAs in the first episode. We see one that was ruled by Kang and was obviously ruled by Kang. There were statues to him. There was presence of him. And then one that was blinded to the idea that Kang had been orchestrating things. I think,
but they're not two different TVAs.
No,
they're one TVA
time.
in different times.
But I think with the mind wipe, it feels like two TVAs to them. What I'm saying is, it's Chekhov's gun. It's Chekhov's face. We will meet that Kang in the show. I think we meet the Kang who we've seen represented in that episode. I think we meet the god of TVA.
You know what would be fascinating is if we meet He Who Remains at the end of Loki season 1. He explains sort of how he came to make the TVA and all of that kind of stuff. He's already sort of been an unreliable narrator. I don't know how much of that you can trust. It would be fascinating to me if he was not the only one who had made a TVA, but there were a few TVAs around, and this TVA is like, well, our time loop's fucked. Why don't we just go to a different TVA?
But that's the thing I've been saying.
Submarine, they're like, oh, this one's flooded.
But that was the thing I was saying before we went on air when it comes to multiverses. For those who are unfamiliar and uninitiated, you don't have to have a completely different world for a multiverse. It just takes one small thing, right? So the TVA could be in every single universe. If, again, and that was something I was bringing up too, what are timelines? What are universes? Yes, we know time and space. Those together make the space-time continuum, which blah, 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 quantum realities, et cetera, et cetera. But there could be another TVA, another variation of a TVA. There could be some. Also, I think, too, if we meet another Kang, I don't think the Kang that we met in Quantum Mania is the Kang the Conqueror we need to meet.
No, I don't think so either.
I think everybody's keeping he was defeated too easy. I'm like, I don't think that was Kang. That was a Kang the Conqueror, not the Kang the Conqueror. So if they're bringing in somebody else at the end of this, another variant, who? Because now you got to be like, because now with them cutting stuff down, with Marvel cutting properties out, right? This story, we're cutting properties, the strike pushing things back. How risky do you want to push a story where you may have to hold out? Because there's no guarantee the Marvels is going to connect directly to Kang. We know it goes back to situations with the Kree and things like that. We don't know if a Kang comes into play with this.
That's a good point. The next thing
post-credit scene in the Marvels. I think there's a Kang post-credit scene. I think it might be the Kang we meet in this one. It might not, but I do think they're going to have to start incorporating Kang as a four.
But do you get what I'm?
100%.
The only thing we know about is Kang Dynasty, right? Which is in 15 years.
Yes.
Because we didn't get a Kang at all in Guardians.
Right.
Guardians was allowed to be a swan song for that team, for Gunn, completely separate from the MCU.
Right.
It was allowed to be that on its own. It was nothing. Look, we know Star-Lord's coming back. We know we got a lot of those characters coming back. We don't know.
We knew that before. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if that's still true. They're culling timelines, man. Like, I feel like what's happening right now is mirroring the show pretty accurately. Like, well, that's not going to work out. That's not going to work out. That's not going to work. Because at the end of the day, like, I do think there was an aggressive expansion that it's like the internet, right? Like, every streamer wants infinite growth, and they think that that's going to work forever, and they build their business model like Uber and Lyft does, where like Uber and Lyft were subsidized by these VCs, and so once they hit the point where things had grown, venture capitalists. So once they hit the point where like the infinite growth went away, the subsidies went away, and then you noticed like Lyft and Uber rates skyrocketed because that was the actual cost of driving for Lyft and Uber.
Right.
So once subsidies go away, then all of a sudden you have a real cost. I think that's what's happening with streaming. I think the reason that we're seeing all these streaming costs go up is it's like, okay, we thought streaming was going to grow infinitely. We thought it was going to be exponential increase. All these things are happening. But you'll notice like Netflix, they did their big like, oh, you can't share your passwords anymore. That'll stop piracy. And then for this first bump, they did get a huge uptick. Their stock skyrocketed, all those things. I almost guarantee that's going to plummet again once they realize that this growth is only this one little step up. I think the same thing's happening with Disney, where they're like, we have Marvel, we have Endgame, we have the Avengers, we have all these things, and they think it's going to be forever, this infinite growth. And then now that we're in this position of like, okay, we've had a pandemic, our 10-year plan got messed up, we're having a strike, this plan got messed up. I think what's going to happen is like aggressive compartmentalization, and you're going to have like 4 or 5 Kang things where it might have been 20. So I think they're going to need to streamline whatever their original plan was into, they filmed this a year ago or whatever.
Right.
I think the Kang that is introduced next needs to be an important Kang, not the scattershot, all these Kangs, all these opportunities, because I don't think Marvel has the ability to get people in seats just by the name Marvel anymore.
So do you go with that, and because I know he's got to go give his prediction, do you go Rama Tut with Moon Knight Season 2, which is still supposed to be a thing as of now? Because again, we've talked about the gods, we've talked about the entities. If you want to introduce another Kang, and this is one of the powerful ones, this is a Kang, for those who don't know, who went back in time because he was bored and conquered Egypt. Rama Tut was bored.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
And so you can play that story out with the other gods. You know, you got Tiamat, you got Khonshu, you got all these gods available because they've been introducing that. You can eventually wipe out if we're pruning stuff off, you can wipe out the Eternals. The Eternals cannot be a thing anymore. There's a variation of so many things that can play themselves out.
I think Deadpool 3 is going to be, obviously we've talked a lot about the Fox universe being, getting its sign off and that being absorbed. I also think we're going to see, and we haven't, as of filming this, seen the Madam Web trailer yet. But the Madam Web trailer, I think, is going to...
like he was like, where the fuck?
A little bit. Might have woke up and it's 6, 7, 8, and 9 o'clock because I believe the internet foolishly. But really tired internet. But I think Madam Web is going to show we're going to get a collision of Sony into Marvel as well. So I think where Fox is going to be erased, I think Sony is going to fold in. And I think that through the Spider-Man contract they just redid, because we learned that the original contract was every 3 years, 9 months, you had to make a Spider-Man property. Yeah. Now we don't know what the rule is, but I would bet Marvel at their strength then would not have signed a new contract wherein they didn't get Sony characters to fold into their stuff.
Of course.
Secret Wars. But that means they've got to make a Fox movie with Deadpool. They've got to do something with Sony to make it worthwhile. They need to do a smaller Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man 4 before any of this. Now we're talking about 20 properties, even if we're just closing up these buttons. I don't think Kang was the hit they wanted it to be. I don't think that Kang, the character, was the 10-year plan they needed it to be. I don't know if they'd want to double down and do Ramatut, as good as a narrative it would be, in Moon Knight after the reaction Quantumania. Because remember, we read that thing saying Quantumania they thought was going to be a hit?
Yeah.
I think they might be pulling back on all things Kang, not adding to it.
So you just save every last variant pretty much until you get right up under
Maybe
secret.
post-credit scenes? Like throw them in the movies? You know,
Yeah,
maybe do Moon Knight season 2 if it did well enough. I don't know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
numbers because they won't share them. But you get the things out there that you know are going to be hits.
Right.
And then you do post-credit scene, this is exciting, this is exciting. I just worry that the Kang wasn't Thanos. Like that Kang, Jonathan Majors is killing it.
But no one is gonna. But I think that's the problem because no one is gonna be Thanos. I think no one. We were so built around this villain, who his whole thing was, I will destroy reality with a warped sense of view, right? So now you think your next big bad has to be equal to or greater than, and in theory, the dude who controls time is it.
Well, narratively, it suits the whole building of universes.
Yeah,
mapping of
absolutely.
universes.
It suits all this
It's also more
multiversal
exciting
thing.
because it's a love story. Like, love is more interesting than hate. Thanos didn't hate, he didn't love, he just wanted balance, he just wanted to end
Right.
things. A true love story with Kang could have been what Kang Dynasty should be, but I don't know now if there's enough investment in the character to make it the actual narrative
But
protagonist.
there's a pitch. There's a pivot you can do. There's a pivot. You can literally just pivot to Victor Von Doom. There's an easy pivot because FF is right there.
Yeah, but we're not as far along in that as I think they wanted to be because they
You
haven't rushed
get
that out there.
introduced. You can introduce him,
Sure.
and remember, you can introduce an established Victor.
Yeah.
You don't have to introduce a brand new Victor.
No,
Von
I don't
Doom.
think they should.
Yeah, you have a Victor who's been in Latveria. He's already known science and tech and magic. He knows both.
Right.
So when you start to feed him in, heading towards Secret Wars, where it's him, you have everything set to go.
Speaking of Latveria, where do they make these shirts?
Latveria.
Nicaragua. Hey, be sure to check out nerdriot.shop where you can always grab the latest and greatest new Rockstars gear, including the 2 new shirts that Jay and I have on. They're not perfect because we had to get these rushed from a around the corner printer, so the colors are a little weird, but when you get them, they'll be beautiful and perfect and gorgeous. We also have this Miss Minutes shirt if you're a fan of Miss Minutes. I kind of want to make an alt version of this where she's evil. If you want that shirt, let us
Ooh,
know.
I like that.
I need a Miss Minutes Brazzers shirt, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
Yes.
you know what? I'll
Did
call
you
the
see the
designer after
meme
this.
that they have with the Kang variants and her sitting on the couch? It is a you know
Oh, it's that.
somebody did that meme.
That's pretty good.
It is so great.
What are you doing, Step Clock?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We got a few new shirts. We got a few new shirts in the shop right now, all inspired by Ouroboros. We've got an OB We're All Gonna Die shirt. This cool repairs and advancements pneumatic tube with some Easter eggs in. They're pretty obvious to point out. We didn't hide them very well. And then we've also got a little TVA handbook one, which is.
Did you just Mitch McConnell? Did you just Mitch McConnell?
I did Mitch McConnell a little bit.
Did you just Mitch McConnell?
I was gonna bring up the fact that we wanted to actually make an actual notebook, but we have a shirt. And then I was like, you shouldn't bring up something you almost did.
I literally looked at the single and my brain went, could be what happened. I was in disbelief. That was so good. I stopped and I looked at the single and I was like, I must be imagining the silence. And then it was my brain, it went right up and I was like, nope.
Don't forget to subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars network. That would be New Rockstars, the Breakroom, Deep Dive. Coy saved my life.
YouTube gets that Twitch experience today. All right, y'all.
Oh,
The clock.
oh, Jesus. Let me go to the side so you can have your shot.
I believe that we are further from midnight after the events of episode 3.
Whoa. Whoa!
For 11:47. Is that right? Yep, 11:47. I would have put us at the end of episode 2. about here. I think we've moved because I think we know we have 3 episodes with Kang. I think that we are going to get one more in the following episode, episode 4, and then I think something narratively occurs that keeps him to the finale, because you want to use Kang for the finale. You want to introduce, in my opinion, a new Kang. So I think there's going to be something that happens big next episode that either impairs Victor Timely or impairs Miss Minutes. There needs to be the ticking clock of tension. So I think you need more room to get to midnight. I do think the finale is the time loom imploding, the TVA exploding. I do think we end this with Victor either gone, making way for a new Kang, or with an evil Loki maybe trying to run the TVA. I think that we end this with a mischievous god again, but I think in the meantime, we've got 4, 5, and 6 to get to that point, so I'm moving us to about 47, and I think that there's a lot to go through in the 3 episodes, because think about where the show started. They very aggressively accelerated episode 2 to have like this whole interrogation scene, then like, we're pruning so much. I think they need to slow down the pace a little bit and then have that tension build back up, so I'm going 47.
Great.
You say we get a mischievous god back at the end, but wouldn't you consider us having that with, or would you consider Sylvie more vindictive as opposed to being mischievous?
She doesn't feel like she's having fun. Like she should be like mischief.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she feels like she's not burdened with glorious purpose. She just feels burdened.
But does that even equal Loki being mischievous? I'm just burdened.
He's not yet.
Yeah,
but when he think about how much fun he was having in Avengers.
Yeah, I mean,
You need mischief is like play.
Yeah,
he's not playing. Even the scene of the interrogation, it was like good cop, bad cop.
Oh yeah, he was gonna murder this.
Yeah, that wasn't joy. So I think we need to get Loki back to mischief, and I think that somehow we do that by the end of the season.
Here's my question. You say you backed up.
I did.
You backed off. Who? Okay.
We got.
It's only getting worse.
Right.
Right. It's only getting worse unless you fix it.
Right.
Who's fixing it in your version?
Theoretically, the one true Kang.
But like you're saying the show's gonna end with the TVA exploding into infinite.
I think the concept of the TVA as we know it. Because we have a TVA
right now
in Deadpool, and I think that we continue the story on so they can do a season 3. But I think the TVA as we know it, the TVA as we know it is I think ending.
So what we're looking at here, you've set this clock. Is this the furthest you haven't done one of these shows yet?
No.
Is this the furthest you've been so far in the show?
I think the show we would have started here.
Okay.
I've moved it up in the 3 episodes.
Okay.
I just don't think it's going to get there next episode.
I see.
Because the way it was explained to me is like each 5 minutes feels about like an episode.
You know that in real life, we're at like 11:59.
Oh, yeah. But it feels like it here.
You don't think that in the TVA they're like...
I'm way more concerned for our reality than Loki's.
Global warming was nothing in comparison to our time loom exploding.
You just froze and I checked my own reality.
This is very true.
In real life, I went, that might not be true.
You froze in real life in real time.
I feel like so much has to happen for things to explode that it's a little bit more removed. I feel like they have the ability to travel through timelines. They have the ability to theoretically fix things with Miss Minutes. As of 3, I think we got some time.
Nope, it doesn't work anymore.
Nope, we can't.
You can't do it again. You can't do it. You blinked. You blinked. It doesn't work anymore. Go tickle him. Tickle him. Tickle him.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. Loki episode 3, season 2. Hit us off with a secret?
What is Red Slayer? How does it relate?
My clock is reset.
Just jet ski happens.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Nope.
What we have here is a goddamn crime. Look at this face. The face of a killer. Okay? That's why I think.
Whoa.
We're here. Couple things. Think about this, Coy.
Whoa.
What did Miss Minutes leave off saying in her final words to Victor Timely? She was trying to get out, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He sent her away. Like Jay said, a little scorned. Here's what I think. The person that you love has just rejected you. What would you do if you're a vindictive psychopath? Hey, here's the greatest thing you've ever built. I'm going to destroy it. Miss Minutes is going to come into the TVA. She's going to say, oh, Ouroboros, cool. You need either me or him to fix this shit? Oh, I got it. No worries. Go, I don't know. Look around. Have fun. See all the shit you built. I'm going to fix this. Don't worry about it. And then she's just going to get her little fingers in there and make things so much worse. Because we have 3 more episodes. So, that's episode 4. Episode 5 is oh, shit. We got to fix the shit that it's now worse. That's stakes. You know what I mean? Stakes. To your point about the rumors that there will only be 3 Kang episodes, I would like to correct you. Okay? There will be 3 Jonathan Majors episodes. We don't know what Marvel wants to do with Kang. We don't know what Marvel wants to do with Jonathan Majors. Victor Timely could peril at some point. Miss Minutes, Sylvie, a lot of people want him dead. Ouroboros, Ravonna. We get a big reveal. One of these people is a Kang variant, either the whole time or a little bit of Nathaniel Richards, oh shit, I didn't realize I was a Kang. That's interesting. And either they're going to tip the scales this way or they're going to fix. But I think right now, with all the fingers in all the pots, we're a minute away from bad shit happening.
Okay. Don't you?
I caught it.
If he didn't drop that mic, I'd have like it wasn't me, so we good.
I got 2 rebuttals.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Ravonna is a Kang variant.
Look, I don't either.
As the internet keeps wanting it to be.
I don't
That
either.
would be the exact same twist as Loki season 1. And I don't if
Sylvie and Loki
yeah,
is
come on. And also the whole impetus for Kang to conquer time is his love for Renslayer. So if he's just in love with himself, that variant timeline doesn't work because time variations happen because of the timeline.
That's not.
So that's a negative Ouroboros. And Ouroboros, I don't think, is a variant. I think he is a creation of Kang.
Why is his brain not white?
Because I think he was created by Kang, like Miss Minutes was. I think
he was created. Yep.
Yeah, I think that the Ouroboros is a way for if you're all powerful in time and you have no one to connect with and no one to bounce your ideas off of, it just jumps around in here. You need someone to bounce ideas, a mirror. So an Ouroboros of thought, of math, of creation.
Snake eating its own tail.
Exactly. You need the end of the tail. I think he's the end of the tail, a creation of Kang. He's not a Kang. He's something he made, therefore, so he could process all that data.
Yep.
I think he meets people through time.
That's good.
And thus, he is able to bounce ideas off of. That way, every time he resets, he meets OB, and OB is able to remind him who he is. And thus... We have more time. Woo! Also, there's 3 episodes left. That proves my point. There's plenty of time.
Well, I'm not saying I'm just saying it could get better, but right now it's the worst it'll be. Someone's got to fix things or else it's.
I don't think people fix things for a while, so I think it's better than we think it is. But I think that's the role OB plays personally. I think he's a mirror.
So you think okay, we've got Kang, he who remains.
Yep.
He's you know what? I'm gonna do 2 things. I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm gonna remove myself from the equation. People are not gonna know it's me. I'm gonna set up 2 people.
Yep.
We've got these chuckleheads that I'm gonna call the timekeepers.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's ever talked to them. Whatever.
Don't worry about
I'll make the lore. I'll make Ouroboros to have the lore.
Yep. And Ouroboros is gonna live. He's gonna be your inside man, and he's gonna know all the inner goings of the TVA.
There's always a top and a bottom.
Yep. Eiffel Tower.
Stick Ouroboros down there.
Yep.
He's your bottom.
He's your catcher.
Taking care of things while you've got your face.
Hey, Evan, I want you to catch all of this.
Receiving.
Upstairs.
Yep.
And now that the timekeepers are dead, guess what's going to happen to Ouroboros' head?
Miss Minutes is a pitcher.
Thank you for watching the Breakroom
Long arm.
with us today on YouTube, on Twitch. That's all we're doing today. Okay? Because I will not be upstairs. Subscribe to the f***ing channel. There's a bunch of you in the comments. You leave comments and you're not subscribed. What kind of psychopaths? I really want to know. I really want to know this answer. I don't think I've left a comment on YouTube in 15 years. Who leaves comments on YouTube pages that they're not subscribed to?
Monster.
If you're typing right now,
Variants.
hit the f***ing button.
They're variants.
Hit the button. It doesn't mean that you're gonna have to see this f***ing face every day. Okay? Do me a favor. Follow us on Twitch, where we do these videos live.
Are there any questions?
Okay?
I'm really curious what people would ask.
Yeah, we're gonna answer some questions on Twitch. You f***ers on YouTube aren't gonna get to see them. Goodbye.